But it was when you were working on that first instrumental album that you were talking to Blasco, of course, the bassist for Rob Zombie and Ozzy, many others over the years. And at the time, he was managing Black Label. And when you guys were talking, it was at the same time that Black Label was they needed to bring in a replacement for Nick Catney's, right? That's kind of how that whole thing came together.
Totally. It was a timing thing. I was just going back and forth with Blasco on an email about the instrumental album I had coming out. And it was just like a timing of like Black Label was looking for a guitar player, or going to be looking for a guitar player at that time. And of course, me as a guitar player, like coming up, Zakk was a huge inspiration for me. So that was like a really exciting, to be able to play with Zakk. It was like, wow, all right. So they had me record some songs. I recorded some videos playing Black Label songs and some videos singing and playing acoustic on some of his Book of Shadows, his first Book of Shadows album. And I just sent those videos off, and they dug it. So they were like, just come out and meet Zakk. I went Black Vatican, hung out with Zakk, and that was, 11 years ago. So we've been rolling since then.
Well, and you had met Zakk in passing prior to joining the band, right? But you didn't have any sort of like a real relationship with him at that time.
Right. Yeah. Just out here and there along the way, just quick in passing. But that was our first set.
The whole, I guess, audition process for the band, I mean, was it, one of those grueling kind of things where you're either knowingly or unknowingly up against a bunch of other people, or was it really just as kind of laid back as you just made it sound?
Well, for me, it was just, I recorded those videos, so I spent time making the videos and trying to nail the songs as best I could, and then, of course, sing and play those acoustic songs. So that, to me, was the audition process, and then it was just a matter of like kind of waiting to hear back to see if we were going to try to move forward. And then that next step was going out and meeting Zakk out at the Black Vatican, and we went from there. But we didn't jam. It was just, because you saw the video, so it was just kind of more of a hangout, kind of sit down.
So when you're in a situation like that, how long does that whole process take from doing those videos and sending them in to going out and meeting Zakk? How much time does that span there? I
think at that time it was a couple weeks. It was just a couple weeks of when I made the video, and then maybe a week or so later, it was I got a phone call back.
So it's not something where you're sitting there for like 2-3 months and like, kind of on the edge of your seat and this constant.
Yeah, no, that'd be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, obviously, Zakk is sort of the main focal point of Black Label, but it does seem like you do get quite a bit of credit. Obviously, you appeared on the cover of Guitar World with him a few years back, which is great because, I feel like there's so many bands out there that have, newer members or members that, they don't really get a lot of attention or love from the quote unquote main members of that, whatever band they're in. But that really doesn't seem to be the case with Zakk and Black Label. It's the way that they go about things. It's like almost as if you were there from day one.
Yeah, Zakk is absolutely amazing. Yeah, he's awesome, and we have a blast like jamming together and going back and forth in the live shows. Doubling solos and trading solos, and Doom Crew incorporated the album a few years ago. Black Label was. That was the first album that I was jamming back and forth with him on, and with like extended solo sections. And after that album, we did the Guitar World cover together, which was, that was a huge highlight. And Zakk's he's amazing. So yeah.
And do you have a lot of leeway in terms of, bringing your own ideas into the band, or you just kind of go off of whatever he wants you to do?
Well, as far as writing, that's Zakk. That's Black Label is Zakk's thing. So, like he'll have the songs, and then he'll send them over to me. Like everything's written. It's like, here's your your solo section part. Do your thing to it, and at the end we'll harmonize or whatever, or we'll do an octave thing. And live, it's just kind of an organic, whatever's happening live is just kind of organically developing. But that's pretty much the process.